The good news is that today, there is a lovely aspect of technology that is social, which can be leveraged. If leveraged properly, can help us all to stay visible and help us to get found for our needs. The three important principles that actually drive your social presence. One is your identity, the other is your strategy to network, and the third is your strategy to engage. And these are the only three things which is going to determine whether you're going to be visible or not visible. And this is irrespective of the social media platforms, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on Twitter, whether you're on Instagram. So there are three important things that contribute to your social presence. One is your identity. Who am I? What do I want? Right? So it's very important for you to ask yourself, who am I? And it is also important for you to showcase what is the value that you bring to the table and what can the other collaborators expect from you. So that is very, very important, and that is the foundation on which your entire social media experience is actually built upon, right? So that identity translates to a LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, it is a LinkedIn profile. On Twitter, it is a Twitter profile. On Facebook, it is a Facebook profile. And Instagram, it is an Instagram profile. Now, having defined your identity, what you have to realize is that a social media platform has got, like LinkedIn has got some 900 million people. Facebook has got 1 billion people. And all of these social media platforms have got, literally lots and lots of people. Now, for us, do we remain a tiny speck or do we become visible? That's very important. How are we going to be able to detect the signal from the noise? And that is extremely important, because you don't want to be connecting with all the 900 million people or 1 billion people, right? You have got your needs. You have got definitely, some needs that really define, which are representative of the reason why you want to be on a social media platform, right? So that's very important. Before you decide to get onto a social media platform, it is very important for you to decide, why do I want to be on LinkedIn? For example, the reason I want to be on LinkedIn is very different from the reason I want to be on Facebook. So the profile that I have on LinkedIn will be distinctly different from the profile that I have on Facebook. So therefore, my strategy to network will be different on LinkedIn. My strategy to engage will be different on LinkedIn. Similarly, my strategy to engage on Facebook will be different. My strategy to network will be different on Facebook. So you have to understand that when you decide to get into a social media platform, you have to be clear as to why you want to be present in that social media platform, right? So that is number one. Number two is that you need to have, who are you going to connect with, right? Are you going to connect with the farmers of the world, or the astronauts of the world, or the carpenters of the world, right? So Syed possibly is, Windows and VMware, and he would like to probably get a job in Windows and VMware, and therefore he has to possibly sit down and connect with people who are employing skill sets with Windows and VMware, right? So that should be your target area of who you should come. There has to be a strategy to network. There's no point, you want to work in Chennai. If you want to work in Chennai, you have to find out who are the people, who are your prospective employers who are there in Chennai, who are the prospective employers who will employ VMware and Windows. No, there's no point in connecting with all the employers in Chennai. You have to specifically look for those IT organizations who are going to specifically hire Windows and VMware. That has to be your specific focus. So that's very important. And what is your strategy to engage? How will you engage? And that is going to be the most distinctive aspect of your social media presence. What is engagement? Engagement has to be necessarily through content. So content can be owned content, and content can be third-party content. Now, content Now, for example, if you can write or if you can produce a video, that's our own content. If you can actually share somebody who's an expert in it, and that is a third-party content. Now, the content can be in the form of blogs, in the form of white papers, in the form of infographics, in the form of videos, and so on and so forth. But what is very important is that you might want to share content that adds a specific benefit to your collaborators. That is very important. If you are not adding, see, what is the point? See, many of the people use content to actually promote themselves. Social media is used to overtly promote themselves. So people talk about getting awards, people put on selfies, people talk about joining organizations, and a lot of people celebrate, and those kind of conversations do not add much to anybody's benefit, right? You might want to be very subtle in the way you really promote. You can promote yourself, and it need not be loud, it need not be overtly present, right? But the most important reason, social is about caring. The most important thing is that you really want to care for your community and you want to add value for your community. And that is extremely critical. So what is important? How can I add value to my collaborators? That's very important. Once you're able to do that, then people see that this is a person that, you know, he can solve some problems for me. He can solve my pain in some area. And that is the reason why he will look up to you. And there is no other reason why he will look up to you. So that's very, very important, that content has to be there. And so the thing is this, not everybody can actually write content. Not everybody can produce a video, but then you can actually go ahead and find out what are the important subject matter expertise that other people will look forward in your community. So, and then the idea about content is that you keep on refining it. You put a post maybe once a day, or maybe at least twice a week or something like that. Start experimenting out with it. See if somebody comments, find out number of impressions or whatever it is. How does it appeal? Because content, you have to understand, is that we live in an era of attention span deficit. So the thing is this, the shorter your content is, the better it is. And then the most important thing is to also comment. When you, for example, you cannot go ahead and maybe write, but you have a subject matter expertise. If you are the expert in Windows and VMware, you can go ahead and comment on very important conversations that are happening on technology, where you can say that, look, this is your point of view on this. You can showcase your expertise. Now, what he's saying is right, what he's saying is wrong, what he's saying is right, but you can add a point to it. So that's very important, right? So the three important things, one is your identity. You have to articulate why you want to be in a social media. Second is your strategy to network. You need to know why you're there. Therefore, you need to connect with the right kind of people. It's very important that you also engage properly. So that, you know, for all the benefit of all of you, I've got Achyut here, and Achyut is a good friend of mine, and he's one of the top influencers in this country. And you'll do well. Achyut's engagement strategy is one of the best, and you can please feel free to follow him on LinkedIn and take a look at how he's actually present on Twitter. I think mostly, you know, he's present on all the platforms, but I think he kind of the engagement in LinkedIn is more pronounced. Earlier it was Twitter, but I think he's changed his engagement strategy to come onto LinkedIn. You will see that he regularly posts, and he is very focused on the areas that he wants to comment. He adds value. He promotes all his collaborators, and he is, you know, very, very positive in the way he does. And I think it will be a good idea for you to follow. Try to understand how he engages people, right? That's very, very insightful, and all of you will be tremendously benefited. Of course, you don't want to follow him exactly as the way he does, because his needs are very different and your needs are very different. So you have to understand what is the, so you may want to not only follow Achyut, but you may also want to follow other people who are engaging. You know, you might want to pick up 10 people or 15 people and find out how you might want to engage. Why is LinkedIn the most ideal platform for us? So what you have to understand is that, LinkedIn is an ideal platform for hiring, for a job seeker, for a recruiter. It is probably a great platform for other things, including marketing and sales also. But why it is more ideal for the hiring community is because the entire architecture and the ecosystem supports that, right? So number one, the ecosystem is in such a way that all the universities are present, all the organizations are present. So, and all the applicants are also present. So ideally, LinkedIn that way has got a great ecosystem which supports the hiring process. The second thing is that the architecture, the way LinkedIn profile is built is really wonderful, right? A LinkedIn profile is not necessarily a resume, but it kind of augments the resume very effectively. We'll see that as we go along. But before we get into the LinkedIn profile, you have to understand some very important things about the LinkedIn platform. Now, LinkedIn platform has got 900 million people or 895 or something like that. In a Naukri-like database, if you put a keyword, or let us say you have an applicant tracking system in your organization or any database for that matter, if you put a keyword, what is your expectation?
The expectation would be that we get targeted results, but I think we'll get a lot of other stuff also, which is not relevant.
But whatever the keywords you have keyed in, whatever is available in the resume, your expectation is that you will get all the resumes that have these keywords, right? That is the expectation.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, Riddhima, you put in a certain keyword and I put in a keyword on Google. What will be the search results?
So the search result would be, I think, first 2 pages would be very relevant, assuming how the intelligence.
My question, I'll change it. If I put a keyword and you put a keyword, will the search results be the same?
No, they won't be.
They won't. Why?
Because the data is coming from maybe different servers and different places, and maybe you're using a space, I'm not using a space.
I'll share no, it is not because of that. I'll share you the article on Eli Paris's online filter bubbles.
Okay.
It's very important, very insightful, and I will also. There's a tweak to why in LinkedIn you not get the same search. So the reason why am I don't know.
Now it's okay. Now it's okay. The echo is gone.
All right. So the thing is that Eli Paris's online filter bubbles is very interesting in the sense that it depends upon your persona, right? The entire search results will be different actually. So we will actually park that aside. But I just wanted you now. Let me come to the LinkedIn platform itself. Now, LinkedIn platform, for example, this is something that you have to understand because then only you will be able to get the best out of LinkedIn platform. Now, if I put a search, let us say, for example, I have .NET people. One of my students from Trivandrum had called up, and then she was struggling to find out about .NET profiles in Trivandrum. So I just showed her that my .NET profiles, I had more than 355 profiles, whereas she had only about 80 or something like that. The search results were different because the network itself is different. Okay. Now, in real world, you have 6 degrees of separation, right? But LinkedIn allows for 3 degrees of separation. That means level 1, level 2, and level 3, right? So there's something called the size of the network. Level 1 plus level 2 plus level 3 contributes to the size of the network. Now, for example, if my size of the network is, let us say, 95 million, and the total size of the network, total number of members available on LinkedIn is 895 million people, then you have to remember that 895 million people minus 95 million people, 800 million people are not a part of my network. Okay, what is the implication of this? The implication of this is that when I actually type some keywords, I would only get the search results from the 95 million people that is a part of my network. I will not get the results pertaining to the remaining 800 million people who are not a part of my network. Likewise, the 800 million people who are not a part of my network, they will also, when they put the keyword, they will also not get me as a part of their result, right? So that is the reason why you need to have a strategy to network with the right people. For example, if Syed is looking for a job in Chennai in Windows and VMware, it is his, he has to make sure that he's connecting with all the concerned people, in the chain of people who are the recruitment consultants who are actually working for all the, the companies which are hiring Windows and VMware. He should connect with all the HR managers who are connected. He should connect with all the recruiters who are connected. He should connect with the necessary heads of that particular division, because most of the times the hiring pressure comes from the hiring manager, right? And sometimes the CEO, for example, the CEO is worried why he is not able to fulfill a position. So if all of these people are in a network, then what happens is that how does a recruiter go ahead and find the search results? The recruiter finds the search results based on the JD that he is getting. So he will use the keywords in the JD and then he will type it. Then you will arrive at the top of the search result, right? So this is now what we have to understand is that we have to understand what is the principles of how the traffic is, the search engine optimization, right? SEO engine, right? If the vegetarian restaurant that serves the most delicious vegetarian food is appearing on the 3rd page, possibly I will never know about it at all, that such a vegetarian restaurant exists. So if I have to really be found for my needs, then I have to make sure that I articulate my needs of why I want to be on LinkedIn through the right kind of keywords and network with the right kind of people and engage with them, so that when they actually use the keywords, then I will appear on the top of the search results. I have to appear on the top of the search results, not on the 2nd page, not on the 3rd page. So this is the crux of how you want to use LinkedIn.